So this is it, everyone. This is a huge opportunity for us all. I don't think we're going to get another chance like this based on the numbers within the community. How many people are engaged with Cyberpunk 2077? But here is the headline. It says Cyberpunk petition for second expansion is here. Make your voice heard, and maybe, just maybe, CD Projekt RED will listen. The links are in the description below. Sign that petition if you want long-term support for Cyberpunk 2077. I know I do. We're going to go into some headlines here as well. We have this one, Cyberpunk's second expansion promises. Are you so easy to forget what you were promised when this game was first advertised to you? We're going to break down what happened within basically 2 years from the time we were promised major things with this game up until now. Don't get me wrong, super hyped for Phantom Liberty, but I want a second expansion. Also, we have this one right here, Cyberpunk biggest cut content. Will any of this get added into the game like originally advertised? We're going to go down the list of cut and I guess you would say missing content from the game and what would realistically possibly appear. But yes, so let's get into this. So I got this very interesting message in my DMs on Twitter. Check it out right here. It comes from Powell, who says, "Hey, Open World Games, our post on Cyberpunk subreddit is getting extremely popular. 12,000 likes in 23 hours. It's part of a small campaign to bring people's attention to the fate of Expansion Pack 2 that it suffered and to instill hope that the community's voice may change CD Projekt RED's decision. We want to show the devs that somebody is fighting for this game, but only loud enough voices will be heard by CD Projekt RED's execs. Hence, my question, would you like to make a tweet about it? It could be a link to the Reddit post or something as small as using Cyberpunk deserves better hashtag." Now, you know what? I'm going to do better. I'm going to make an entire video about this. So he posted this out on the Cyberpunk subreddit, and it has gained so much attention and traction. Like this post, by the way. It says, "Only if we are loud enough, CD Projekt RED will recognize resuming the production of Expansion Pack number 2, hashtag Cyberpunk deserves better." I want to see that trending on Twitter, by the way, but go a step further with me. Hold on now. Go to the actual petition as well. I created a petition. It says Cyberpunk 2077 deserves a second expansion. Please sign this this petition. Let's see how far we can go with this petition. I want to have like millions of signatures on this petition to really get CD Projekt RED's attention. And then they are forced to be like, oh my God, you know what? We need an entire dedicated team on Cyberpunk up until the sequel. That's the kind of result I want to see from this. Now, a lot of you guys are wondering, hey, Robbie, how realistic is it that we would be getting an expansion pack 2? So we have to see the history of what CD Projekt RED has said since the past 2 years and go from there. So we're going to start from the very beginning as to what was promised to us before the game released, when they had all the fancy smancy trailers and we were getting all hyped up. So yeah, we have this one right here. It says Cyberpunk DLC plans will be revealed before release with at least 2 expansions. This was posted on April 9th, 2020. They were indicating that, hey, you might get 3 expansions, 4 expansions. They were really hyping this up. Now, it goes on to say this, Cyberpunk's DLC will be revealed before release with no less than The Witcher 3, CD Projekt suggests. They had big plans for post-launch support for this game. It seemed like it was going to be practically infinite. Now, this is what it said here. It says this. During a conference call on the first half of 2020, one of the questions concerned the post-game support for the RPG game, which of course Cyberpunk, and whether it follow a similar trajectory to Geralt's mini adventures. The answer is yes, with even more in the pipeline this time around. It says this. Yes, you can expect a similar path after release. Adam Kaczynski, president and joint CEO of CD Projekt, said, "You can expect more, actually." Wow. So that got me super hyped. I remember my reaction to this. I was like, wow, this is going to be absolutely incredible. Now, let's compare this to The Witcher 3 just for a moment and see what type of support that game actually received. It says right here, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt released with an extensive DLC calendar, which saw 2 pieces of free DLC dropped every week for 2 months following the game's release. The Witcher 3 DLC packs include 5 new quests, new weapons, and armor sets, cosmetics, and a new Game Plus mode, which a lot of us are dying for a new Game Plus mode. Now, don't get me wrong, Update 1.6 was actually pretty good. I'm going to say that Update 1.5 has been really good, and their updates have been great so far when it comes to free content and stuff like that. But I want to see more. I want to see a lot more, in fact. And here we go. So let's keep going with this. It says this: the game's two-story driven expansions, Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine, were announced and detailed several weeks before The Witcher 3's release, promising an additional 30 hours of gameplay. They released in October 2015 and May 2016. So you can see how quickly they were on it with The Witcher compared to, of course, Cyberpunk 2077 because of that botched launch. But yeah, that's a lot of content right there. And we'll see how Phantom Liberty holds up compared to, of course, The Witcher 3 expansions, and see how long-term those can be. Now, the news kept rolling in, and we were wondering, okay, hopefully we actually get these two expansions. The game, of course, did release. They completely botched the launch of that one, and then we started really questioning what was going to be happening with free DLC and expansions. Now, it says this: multiple expansions still planned for Cyberpunk 2077. This was posted in April 11th, 2022, and I began to be somewhat hopeful that perhaps hey, despite every issue this game has had, we would be seeing two expansions. Now, this is what the article said. While initially assumed Cyberpunk would have two expansions like The Witcher 3, CD Projekt RED has only ever confirmed that we'll only get one. And then it says now, it seems that the game may get multiple expansions after all. During a Twitch stream recently, Cyberpunk Quest designer, or Quest director, Paolo Sasco, explained that while he can't say anything about future plans, he can assure you that we are working on expansions, plural. And everyone was like, wait, he didn't say expansion. He said expansions, plural. And I think this was just a simple mistake. Now, the next headline was this one right here: Cyberpunk may only get one DLC expansion. And I'm like, what is going on? Can we just get to the point? This comment from CD Projekt CEO point to it being a one and done deal, which was always a bummer to hear. Now, it says this right here: CD Projekt CEO has seemingly confirmed that Cyberpunk's forthcoming expansion will be its only one. Speaking in a financial Q&A session earlier this week, CD Projekt CEO Adam Kinski was asked about future projects using the in-house Red Engine after The Witcher 4 was revealed to be ditching it for Unreal Engine 5. Cyberpunk expansion is the last project based on the Red Engine, and he said any further product will be on Unreal. So he explained the rhyme and the reasoning as to why there would be only one expansion for, of course, Cyberpunk 2077. And that answer is CD Projekt RED needs to move on. They need their whole team dedicated to understanding Unreal Engine 5. And that puts a complete wrinkle in their long-term plans for, of course, Cyberpunk 2077. But you know what? I say, who cares? We want a development team still dedicated to this game. Make it happen, CD Projekt RED. And things started taking a turn for the worse for the potential of an expansion pack 2 when we get into this comment from the official Cyberpunk YouTube channel. So it starts out with this. It says, as spotted by XGP, the official Phantom Liberty trailer on YouTube received a comment from user Jonah Dragnell reading, I'm quite intrigued by this expansion. I hope in the future more will come out since this game has a lot of potential. Now we have a follow-up reply from the official Cyberpunk 2077 YouTube channel who confirmed this. Glad to hear we sparked your interest. As far as the future, Phantom Liberty is the only planned expansion for Cyberpunk 2077. And when I saw this, I was gutted. Honestly, just like, wow, I cannot believe that this is going to be the only DLC major expansion that we will be seeing for Cyberpunk 2077. And then we had the actual conference call with CD Projekt RED, and they doubled down. Check it out right here. Here's the headline: no more Cyberpunk expansions planned after Phantom Liberty. Game over. I'm like, are you telling me that they are not going to support this after the success of Edge Runners? There's just no way in hell that they could just walk away from this. Now, this is what they went on to say. Say this: on your question regarding further expansion for Cyberpunk, we've decided to develop one major expansion which is going to take advantage of the capabilities of new gen consoles. Having said that, we're totally committed to developing the Cyberpunk IP further beyond this Cyberpunk expansion. So that was kind of like bittersweet news. We got the news that there's going to be only one expansion, but this is not going to be the end of Cyberpunk as a whole. It sounds like they are going to really essentially double down on Cyberpunk after this. They go on to say this: "We've invested a lot of time and effort into building this franchise, and we definitely want to build on top of what is there right now. New stories, new experiences, new content, not just in the video game format in terms of expansions. There's going to be just one major expansion, however, there's going to be new stuff." And yes, it was said by the actual creative director on the expansion that we would be getting a police overhaul, updates to Max Tech. We're going to be getting some reworks with the perk system, the melee system, new cyberware, some cool stuff coming through free updates as well, which does give me further hope for Cyberpunk. But beyond that, it sounds like nothing much is really planned. But they're going to rotate immediately over to The Witcher 4 and then the Cyberpunk sequel as well. But I want to see a permanent team on this game, Cyberpunk 2077, up until the release of the Cyberpunk sequel. Now, it says this right here: Cyberpunk's Phantom Liberty DLC not coming to last-gen consoles. That was another news headline that kind of hurt some of you out there because you're stuck on old gen, but also some of you were also like this: hey, that's good news. They can really go all in on new gen technology like they were supposed to originally. So yeah, there's that, of course. And then the headlines more recently is saying this: one expansion isn't enough for Cyberpunk. Geralt's best adventures came after The Witcher 3's main quest, but CD Projekt RED isn't giving Cyberpunk the same opportunity. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, we have major milestones. 20 million copies sold for Cyberpunk 2077. An entirely new audience is coming from edge runners consistently. I mean, there's over 100,000 players even playing right now in the game, even after edge runners has been out for quite some time. It's absolutely incredible. And then we have this right here. It says it's time for a fourth Cyberpunk roadmap. And yes, it would be awesome to have more of an idea of what we can expect from the long-term support for Cyberpunk 2077. Before Cyberpunk released, CD Projekt RED was all about roadmaps, being very transparent, and now they've gone in the opposite direction of that to really protect, I guess you would say, themselves and to make sure they don't goof up in the future. I get it, but I would really love to see more support for this game. Now, let's talk about missed and cut content from Cyberpunk 2077. Check out this thread right here. So when do we get this? And this has 3,900 upvotes. It is a thermal katana, and this was one of the cut content from Cyberpunk 2077 that you guys really would love to see. It has been changed and morphed, of course, into other features in the game. A lot of you guys have noticed, but check it out right here. Here is the headline. It says, every Cyberpunk feature that was left on the cutting room floor. And this is not all of them, but this is a pretty good chunk of what was kind of talked about before Cyberpunk released. And everyone was salivating about what this game is going to be like based on what was CD Projekt RED was promising us. So check it out. It says the Constitution attribute and its skill tree is completely missing from the game. Maybe something like that will return in the Phantom Liberty. I'm curious. The ability to invite people to your home or apartment. Of course, that's not in the game currently. Then we have the subway and monorail transportation system. They have confirmed that they are not going to be bringing back the metro system at all in this game, in fact. But that's just not on their priority list. And I kind of get it based on the fact that they're working on like the police and things that should have been in the game originally. Then we have street cred affecting the NPC's reaction to V. A lot of things were promised with this based on your street cred. People would respect you more or essentially disrespect you more. And it seemed like gangs would also react to your affiliation to other gangs. So that never made it into the game. Plus, wall running and some iconic melee weapons. Yeah, wall running became an impossibility, I guess, based on the extreme nature of developing that over an entire city like this that you're seeing right here. I think it makes more sense to be in like mega buildings and things like that. Then we have missing and unused areas and points of interest in Night City. Now that one's interesting because it seems to be built out in Phantom Liberty. So I think we're actually going to be getting that, but it's through a paid expansion of sorts. Then we have no access to cyberspace outside of the quest. Yeah, it would be really cool to do brain dances and that sort of thing outside of the main quest line and side quests even in Cyberpunk 2077 to have more freedom with that area for sure. But that was definitely not on the priority list for CD Projekt RED. A lot of features that just didn't make it into the game, and they're kind of trying to bring some of those features back again with the police overhaul and things like that. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. So remember, post a comment down below. It could end up in a future video. Let's check it out. So it says this: Big Edge Runner's secret discovered, CD Projekt's big plan, and update 1.7, and The Witcher 4 new. So check out that video. Some really cool secrets and references have been discovered recently in Edge Runners and Cyberpunk 2077, and apparently there's more secrets to be discovered. Now let's see what you guys had to say. It says, I hope they keep casting different legends from the afterlife so we see how each journey went. Yeah, that would be really cool. I think Afterlife needs to be expanded upon more and more. I thought for sure you'd be able to go to the Afterlife and just get infinite rotating bounties. You know what I mean? And go on really cool, unique bounty hunter missions. That's what I was assuming. And it would be kind of like your base of operations. That definitely did not happen in that way. Now we have this one. Ooh, how do you say this one? Is there a next sure? Who says, if they do go ahead with a live-action Cyberpunk project, I hope they don't use V, but create a new lead and characters for it, like what they did with Edge Runners. Yes, I totally agree with this. I think, if you look at the Batman Arkham franchise of games and how they have handled Batman, they've made him his own thing, within the gaming universe, apart from the movies. That's how they should be handling Cyberpunk as a franchise, in my opinion, to keep everything nice and safe, and it makes it less complicated. So hopefully they do that. Now, we have Joel who says this: technically, Lucy still lives, so it would be cool if she made an appearance in the game as a questline character for a special mission. Maybe a revenge mission on the corpo woman from the anime that planned the whole mission leading to David and Rebecca's death. So yeah, that would be really, really cool. I want to see more Edge Runners content overall in Cyberpunk. Now, that type of crossover, I think, is very, very cool. But I think the storytelling elements for Edge Runners should be kept in the anime, and then we get cool items and characters, things like that. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that one. If you think they should go all in on quest lines and storylines for Edge Runners in Cyberpunk 2077. All right, so we have Sarah who says this right here: I really want to see Lucy in Cyberpunk sequel and meet her in a side quest, so they should definitely tie the anime IP and game together more. It would be a huge loss if they didn't. Super excited for the next Cyberpunk game, as they surely must have learned from this, and we'd hope we'd be getting an immersive RPG experience next time around. Read more. So much potential. So I guess that basically answers what I just asked. It seems like a lot of you are wanting to actually see more tie-in content when it comes to story elements and things like that from Edge Runners into Cyberpunk 2077. I want to see more like over-the-top gameplay. I think they really showcase that kind of in Edge Runners, and it would really, really be cool if we had, I guess, more abilities and movement systems in this game to really mirror what was showcased in Edge Runners. That would be really, really cool. All right, there it is. The latest happenings around Cyberpunk 2077. Get to it. Sign that petition if you are wanting more long-term support for Cyberpunk 2077. I know that's the majority of us. So let's see what you guys can do. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.